Can you hear anything? How are you doing?
I'm good. I can hear it now. I was literally just staring at a skull. I was like,
yeah, I just had it up there for a little bit. I don't have anybody on yet, so it's kind of cool. I was just looking at what we were doing and what I was got going on out here. So can you hear me good? Is my volume coming through pretty good?
Yeah, it's great. I'm looking into getting a Yeti mic for myself because the headphones are starting to suck.
Yeah, they're really awesome. Actually, I really this microphone, this Yeti microphone, has been one of the best things. I can send you which one I got, but I like it as far as what you're going to use. Looks like we have some people coming in. I don't know yet. As soon as someone walks on and starts talking to us, I'll know if they can hear us or see us. But it's always a slow start, so I usually just let music play and look kind of goofy in the background.
No, that's cool. Yeah, I do need to get a microphone because I don't know. The earphones work kind of, but it's really sketchy, and you hear if you move subtly, and with my
Michelle
gets in the way. Nah, I don't like it.
Heidi, what's up? Yeah, they they do actually work really good. You should definitely do that. Yeah. So, anyways, today was just about I've been busy all day, obviously, with things, but it's just about good weather. It's like not good for the animals per se, but it's really, really cool for as far as hanging out and talking about the fire. So I figured we have some good stories and maybe catch up on a couple things. And I'm sure people will start streaming a little bit at a time. It's one of those days where Sundays everybody comes on. What's up, Judy? Judy's on, by the way. Let's show you. Whoop, there she is.
Hi, kids.
Let me see here. Yeah. What's up?
Oh, good.
What's up? Well, it's good to see John Burkle. Man, when I got to know when to see you, man, for sure. So that's one thing I got to do. I got to see John Burkle again. Kind of missed the guy. Putting something in here. Hold on a minute. Let me find this. So how'd your day go, Brittany? How's the weather up in Lake County?
Cold. It was good though. Last night we got all the way down to 49, and I was running out checking on my animals because I was like, "Oh no, that's too cold." Like I was freaking out for most of the night. I just don't sleep well if I think that they're too cold.
Right.
So the frogs came in.
It was that bad, huh?
Yeah. I was like, I don't want my frogs freeze in their water. So the frogs came in, but my other animals are fine. But it was cold for most of the day. We actually had a Renaissance festival going on up here. So we packed up and went over there, and it was really fun. They had jousting today. It was packed. It was like going to Disney. I think everybody was so excited to get out in this wonderful weather and go have a fun afternoon just doing something different. And there was the main parking, and then they opened up one of the fill lots to actually park more people. And then all the way down, they were busing people in with school buses. That's how busy and packed it was. It was ridiculous. And then
Renaissance, that's right. I know there was one in Sarasota too, where you were talking about the one in Lake County, right?
Yeah. Yep. And it was a happening place today, and it was really cool. I mean, people were really having a good time. And for the kids, people were coming up and they're like, "Oh, did you happen to see the fairies?" And Finn was like, "Where?"
Fairies?
Yeah, there was fairy forts throughout the entire as you're walking through the pass, there are all the different tents and all the vendors, and to go meet the kings and the queens and the lords and the duchesses, and then the knights and the knights' horses. And there's all these little fairy homes, and then there's a fairy cottage. You can go meet living fairies that come and take pictures and things. It was they just went above and beyond today. So I thought it was really, really cool.
Well, for those of you new to the show, Brittany has put her name in as Ass Rat. That's a nickname she earned as a kid because when she was little, our parents didn't want us calling her using bad words around her, so we used to call her B Rat instead of asshole. So it morphed in from B Rat to Butt Rat because just that was a degrading thing to call somebody when you're a kid. Hey, you little fucking butt rat. And so then when she got older, we started calling her Ass Rat, and then one of our sisters was called Bum Scum, and so we all had these ridiculous names. So you see the word Ass Rat, that was a nickname earned from a terrible childhood growing up.
So awful. I graduated. It's like going through this. It's like going through school of names. You start as B Rat to Butt Rat to Ass. Ass Rat's just the mature name that you take on as you get older. It's
so Matthew's here. He says, "Hope y'all are good from the other side of the pond." So he's all the way in England. That's awesome. Awesome to see you, Matthew. Thanks for coming in.
Oh, very cool.
Did Finn like the jousting?
He did. He was jumping up and down, laughing and clapping. And when the one night was it's to the death, and they were fighting to the death and stabbing and all that other stuff.
That's pretty awesome.
No, yeah, and he's clapping. He was having a good time. It was so funny. It was.
That's
great.
Awesome. I would like to joust still. Jousting is fun. And then Heidi said, "Poor Brit."
For what?
Because your name is
Ass Rat. Oh, it's okay.
Because you got that really weird nickname, Ass Rat. So yeah, the Renaissance Festival would be kind of fun. I would be interested in going to see that, but I've been pretty busy. I have a lot of little things going on, and
It's this weekend and next weekend. 2 weekends back to back.
Is it? So they do nothing all week?
No, they literally live there in like on the
I mean,
ground.
but are they open all week long?
No, just the weekends.
So they just dress up. I want to do that. I'm just going to do it. Fuck it.
It's so fun.
I'll just take my owl and walk around like an asshole and say, hello, my lords, and just walk around.
People would eat that up. They had one guy there earlier, and I saw him. He had like a hawk or whatever. So he's probably doing the hawk training. I don't know. And then he was gone. I didn't see him for the rest of the day. And then I was like, man, and people were stopping. They're like, is that your bird? Is that your bird? Or whatever. But like, it was so cool. And then you know how Universal has like the walking T-Rex that like comes out and meets with the kids and stuff? They had a dragon. So these guys are like, watch out for the dragon, but the dragon's friendly. Don't try and kill him. And like, it's this life-size, huge walking dragon with wings, like walking through the green. You should have seen the kids' faces. They were just like, it was so cool.
I think that's really awesome.
It was so
I think that's really awesome.
I had such a good time because I'm sitting there going, man, to have something like this to look forward to every year, to like get dressed up and just go and for like the weekend and just be something else and just have fun in this world. I was like, it's so cool. And you see everybody in such character in the costumes. I mean, the money they had to put into their wardrobes was just freaking outstanding. Like, I mean, somebody just had to stop and be like, you look fantastic. Like, I mean, some of the guys from head to toe and the women, I mean, the dresses were like, it's like they time traveled and came back with it. It's just insane. And they play the part to the T. They're all laughing because they all know each other from different Renaissance festivals that they travel around to. And and they have a great time. There were some steampunk people there that showed up, and like other Renaissance people would stop and be like, and what era are you from, fellow? And they're like, oh, well, we come from. Like, it's so cool.
I know. They really get into it. I couldn't do that, though. I'd be like, is this your bird? I'm like, yeah, it's my owl. He hangs out. Looks cool. I don't know if I could be like, faulting. I don't think I could do that. I might be able to. John Brickle. Let's see what he said here. He said, I used to get in fights with the knights at the bars after Penn Ren Fest. Was there doing camel rides. Why would you get in fights, John? You always got to fuck around. I mean, really. God dang, dude. That's hilarious. When I was on the road with Jimmy and we were doing, I believe, I'm trying to remember if it was the San Antonio Rodeo or whatever. It was a big deal. There was a lot of vendors. I believe that's when it was. And I had Hootie with me. I ran into some of the guys that had kind of quit and left Medieval Times. And we're doing the jousting show there. And this guy was traveling horses and jousting. And, they're running out there like, my Lord, and all that stuff. And I was like, whoa, man. And then we started talking. And the one guy was there. And we got this. And I told him the years I was there. And he said it's gotten real bad. It's not the same as it used to be. I mean, we didn't have all the, honest to God, like we didn't have all the bullshit. Like, so let me tell you a story about, I worked with a kid that Brittany fucked with so much he killed himself. But that is
not true. That's
exactly what
true.
You did to him. You made him.
I did not.
So listen, for those of you that are sensitive, if you don't like that, get over it. Another thing I think that's going on is people are going to see this about an hour later because the time rolls back. So technically it's 6 o'clock to a lot of people. And they're like, what the fuck? So I've noticed our viewership's a little bit different than normal. I think we're out of whack there. But for those of you that didn't do the time jump, yada, yada. But to go back to that was, I won't put his name out there anyways. But when we started working Medieval Times, you start out and you cleaning barns and all that kind of shit. And it just, all together working hoofstock, just working horses, etc. And because, there were nights and once you trained, you had to start from one color night. For those of you that have been there, they have colors. And you get like blue or yellow or red and yellow. And then it's all talks about the green night, everybody was a bad guy, whatever. There was bad nights, good nights. It was all games. And, at the end of the day, I worked at the one in Florida. At the end of the day, that's a long story. That's how I actually met Flavio. But anyways, back in the 90s, I worked there, and we didn't have the same kind of they have a problem now with what's the term? Workman's compensation, liability. So it was like, oh, you can't say this, and we don't want you doing that. Don't brush the horses, and don't take. And it was everything's now. He's like just terrible. But back then, you could do whatever you wanted. I mean, we were practicing and throwing jousts, and I remember Jeremy one of the nights hit my leg. He threw one of those little javelin spears through my leg, and then the boss came around the curve like, "Oh, that's real fucking cute, guys. You better be able to ride, Troy. Bandage it up." He'd be pissed off and everything, and Brittany remembers a lot of it as because she was a little kid. But Ralph Perdati was a really good friend of mine, man, and he may still be doing it. I mean. He might be, because I could see that guy doing it well into his 60s, Ralph. He was fucking, He was awesome.
Ralph was awesome.
Yeah. So like,
Really
guys,
great
like
guy.
I would go to work, we'd sleep all day till about 2:00. We'd go in, and the shows would always start at 7:00 dinner time. So we had to go in from 3:30 to 6:30. We practiced. We rode the horses. We rehearsed our fightings, what we were going to do if we had to add new things, and some of the guys you're fighting with, Jay was a really awesome guy. He's Hawaiian Knight, bro. He's just crazy, man. And we would fight each other, and he had this axe, this big, and the sword. I had him in doubly sword, and he had this battle axe too. It was like 8 feet long. He'd be swinging it around and trying to chop your head off and stuff. And so you'd have to practice because a lot of times you got hurt in the show, and most of us didn't even really know that, but nobody would know because we'd be like, "Fuck!" You're on the ground. You're like, "Fuck! Drag me out of here! I broke my hand." It was like that. It was like literally, if you fucked up one time and you did something wrong. I remember a time that I thought my hand was cut off, but it wasn't. It was just hit so hard that I didn't want to take my glove off. So Mark and I Mark was the knight at the time, and he was in blue, and he was killing me. And so he goes across the arena, and he runs at me like I'm standing in the middle of the arena, and the king guy has me, standing there under the light, and they finish him off, and he turns around the arena at like 100 miles an hour, and he comes riding at me, right? And he's supposed to like go by and like he's cutting your stomach, right? And the sword sticks in you. But he hit me so fucking hard in the hands because he hit me just a little too high. What really wasn't his fault. It wasn't. It was because of the angle of the horse, and the horse had started to slow down, which caused a rise in the mid-swing, so he hit me high. So, of course, my right hand grabs the sword, and my left hand's dead. It's gone. So I'm like thinking this fucking thing is inside my glove, and I don't want to take my shit off, right? What's up, Dan? So I'm like, I told the squire, I'm like, get me out of here, but don't touch my fucking left arm. My hand's detached. He's like, what? I go, I think it's fucking cut off. So it happened like right in the middle here where you would wear a watch band, but he hit the tendon so hard, it like chipped a little of the bone in there, but it felt like my hand was cut off. Like I couldn't feel it anymore. It was so bad. So it's just those little accents, and nobody really knows, and you got to go back out. So we duct tape my wrist, and then, you kind of ride back out and you're waving a little bit. So I use that for a shield and whatever. And, the following show, whatever. But, nothing's like that anymore, man. Like I would love to be jousting. And some of the guys back then, when I was doing it in my 20s, were almost in their 40s, still banging it out. So, I mean, I still think I could joust off of a horse. No problem, dude.
Oh yeah.
Like I would practice a little bit so I could get my momentum back, but like I can still ride a horse, and every which way but Sunday. I ride. A lot of people don't know that I can ride a lot of different ways. I have a lot of different training on horses, but jousting and riding horses hard and fast, and we're like going off burning. We're getting shot off the burning wagon because I went on to Arabian Nights and ended up being an Indian, and they used to shoot me off this burning wagon. And I'd be drugged back there, dude. It was like pretty racist stuff that they did to those Indians in that show, to be honest with you. But at least I was the Indian, man. I took one for the team.
It was a lot of fun. Show, though. It was
like we'd set a wagon on fire, and there'd be gunfires going off. Wild West, they shoot. I'd fly at the back. I'd be holding on to what looks like a burning piece of cable or whatever, and they fly you through. And you got rug burn on your belly because your pants are full of fucking gravel and whatever else is in the arena. 5-bar, whatever they called it. It was like a 5-bar we rode in.
Yeah.
And, I remember all the girls were like, hey, we want to play the Indian part and stuff. But, we never told them that they had to tie their pants up. But I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of little things that we used to say, like, oh, yeah, you could do this. And they fly off their pants or fly off down to their knees. And now their underwear is full of fucking 5-bar. It's bad. It was bad, dude. It was good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, so back to medieval times, once you became a knight, you started out as cleaning stalls, and you did all this kind of stuff. And I'm glad y'all appreciate my ADD. Anyways, you clean stalls and you squire. So what you do is you're responsible for rebuilding the Troy and I'm gonna hold on. Let me see what he said. It says here, this is Dan. He says, this is Danikin Skywalker. Troy Ellen asked once, because I talk about South Florida a lot, do you think I'll find anything in the beginning of December down there if the weather is cooler? Really though, Daniel, honest to God, I think you will, if it's depending on weather. So if the weather's pretty decent down there, when you go down there, and there's been a lot of like good southern sunrises and everything's real hot, and that day, like say it's only getting down into the 60s, you might find some stuff out that's been sunning and just got stuck there because it's there. But as far as snakes and stuff go, December's not that great of a month, at least not in my opinion. But then again, there's spots that are a lot hotter than other spots. So iguanas and things you should be able to find. Geckos don't mind cold weather, so there's a lot of those. Make sure you go down south, go all the way in the Keys, and go down to John Penny Camp. And when you go into the entrance there to the right is all the stuff, but there's these little trails that go out. If you go out there in the dark and shine, they have little red alligator eyes and they'll start barking at you. You know how they sound. You've played with them enough. So they're always, I've seen them in December going down there. So back to that story. So you became a squire and you're responsible for weapons. So you're like sharpening weapons and cleaning weapons and making sure the men doublies. And our head knights always carried titanium, which were very expensive swords at the time. Most people don't realize that, but they carried titanium swords because when you hit titanium and steel, it made the biggest spark ever. And people really liked that in the show because we were fighting. You bet, Dan. You bet. We were fighting with real swords. So we were really swinging swords. It wasn't like we're out there with rubber swords. So, we had to hit that spark. Bang. We had to make it happen. So squires were responsible for keeping all that stuff edged and, and ready to go. And there were certain types of paint we used and stuff. John said he was knighted Sir Ossus of Liver. Okay. Hey, I'm probably saying that wrong, but I'm stoned and I'm also enjoying a cider. But at the end of the day, when you became that squire, you were by your squire. You put his horse up and you did all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get to that too. We did some terrible. I'll get into the pranks and how the one kid ended up working for Brittany and then dying. But
that again, let me clarify that.
I'm not clarifying it. You did that. You were mean to that dude.
No,
man. You beat him up, and then a couple days later, he killed himself.
No,
he just couldn't stand it. But at the end of the day, so once you did your very first show as a knight at Medieval Times. Oh, thank you, Michelle. She spelt it for me, so I still probably don't know how to say that. I'll let you pronounce it. How was that, Brittany?
Yeah, no.
Yep, I don't know anything about having any psoriasis in my liver, so I'm just going to say thank you, Michelle, for doing it right, or whatever happened. But anyways, once you were a squire,
is it like Oasis?
And no. I don't know, something like that. Cirrhosis. I don't listen, man. I'm stumped. I'm stumped.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm sure it's easy, but I'm so out of it. So once you were a squire and you did your first show as a knight. So after you trained that year and you were put in your first real show as a knight, the games were on, dude. Because knighting back then was once you became a knight, when they caught you, they'd have to catch you, and usually it's off guard. So about an hour before the show starts, all the servers and stuff and all the housekeeping in there and everything are all inside the arena. They're raking the arena. They're setting the tables. And the knights grab the squire that's been knighted, and they take him into the middle of the arena, and they strip him naked, and they spray paint his balls and dick with every color spray paint they have. And that's how it goes down, folks. All up in your ass, all over your nutsack.
They used to do it that way. They probably don't do it like that anymore.
That's how it was. I'm going to tell you a story.
Yeah. I remember this.
It took them 6 months to catch me. They finally got me, man. They sprayed me in front of everyone, dude. But you're supposed, because if you just lay there, it's worse. So you have to fight if you wanted to. They don't want you just to give up, because then it's not, it's not really one of those things. You listen, Jeff. I'll finish, man. So when you became in medieval times, for those of you who jumped in, when you were a squire for 6 months to a year, depending on how fast you were, and that I spent many years working there. But once you were not a squire anymore and you did your first show as a knight and you had your own squire, all the older knights would catch you and strip you down naked in the middle of the arena and spray paint your balls and your ass and anything else they could get with a spray paint can, every color they had, right? And we knew about this myth.
Oh, boys.
It was supposed to be a myth, but nobody knew, but they did it, like I said, at the time. All the servers were in the arena and everybody's setting tables and watching. So everybody's doing that. So they finally got me, and I remember running down the hall towards the kitchen trying to get away, and I remember Jay stepped out. He's like, "We got to do this, bro," and I was like, "Fuck!" And I knew if I just let him, he would have been pounding me out, so I tried to run through him. He caught me, and they drug me out in that arena, man, and they just, like I said, they just christened me, dude. So I had everything. And let me tell you something. Some of the squires were dumb, and they'd be like, "Oh, go pour mineral spirits on your dick. It'll take it off." Well, that just feels like you just put hot lava on it. Okay.
Oh my God.
Second of all, I knew that shit. I didn't even deal with it. So I just fought the whole night with painted dick, man, because I already knew when I got home, I would put something on it to break it down, oil or whatever base we were using.
Yeah. And
it took months to change the color of my skin. It was like blue and rainbow and crispy. And then it doesn't wash out of all the cracks in your ball sack. You can later on ask John, he'll tell you what I mean. Like, you have all these little wrinkly skin cracks, and so all the paint would stay in there no matter how much you washed your bag, right? So It looked like you had all these little tattooed black veins running around your sack. It was interesting, and I'll never forget it. It was a hell of a party, Jeff. So two other guys got, like, if Daniel, my buddy Daniel that works with me at the zoo, if we knighted him, I'd make sure we painted his balls every color we had there. Every color, all the way down to wherever the paint was. He would be for sure hazed in that one, because that's what dudes they just haze each other. So two other knights got it. I was only involved in one other one because I wasn't there the night they grabbed this one kid. Well, thank God, the last time I wasn't there, they grabbed this one kid and he went to human resources. He got an attorney, everything, dude. So there was a huge meeting there. We couldn't do anything anymore, and nobody's fucking allowed to. The things I never wanted a picture of. That's how it looks. Anyways, so Dan said, Troy, I swear. You know what, Dan? You love it, man. You love it, man. Danikin Skywalker.
Poor Michelle.
If it was Dan and he was going to get knighted in like that to get a real lightsaber, he would stand there and let you do it with a fire hose. So don't even. What's up, Joseph? So the last guy that got caught up in that, he went and got a lawsuit. So it kind of took that all out of there, and they really corporated it up. And then it was like, man, you kind of knew what you were getting into. But, you know, we went out there and all of us got along. I mean, sure, we might have had tensions and anger because, you know, we're fighting and someone's getting the skit wrong or whatever. But for the most part, we were a group of dudes. And, you know, as a squire, you're just a piece of shit when you go in there. If you think the knights treat you good, they fucking treat you like shit. So once you get out of that and you do it for a few years and you all know the stuff, you know, hey, I'm not going to do that, man. I'll be green. All right, I'll take it. I'd rather be the red and yellow. Boom, boom, boom. While these other kids are begging, oh, I want to be a knight. I'm like, man, the old days were a lot better. They were, because it was just, you know, dude, you knew it was coming. And it was just so fun to try to outsmart them, you know. And then later on, you'd be down at the bar, the Fox and the Hounds or Pleasure Island. And then, you know, your life changed from there. And I'm going to get into that. So you know what I mean. Brittany, you remember coming and watching. So,
yep.
You know, at the end of the day, they're like, oh, we're going to get you, motherfucker. We're going to get you. And you're like, yeah, not yet. You know, you're not good yet. You know, they had to wait till certain managers were gone, et cetera. You know, so it was always like strategic. So it was like a big game, you know, it was hazing. It was like frat shit, college shit, you know, biker shit, whatever. But, believe me, that type of hazing was a lot easier than probating for a 1% motorcycle club. I
oh my God, I'm sure.
It was a lot different.
It was funny, though, for me growing up, seeing all that, though, because even hearing the stories of you and Ralph, like back at home or whatever, and you guys be talking or whatever, that's how I found out about like what happened to you to become a knight, is because Ralph was talking about it and you guys were laughing about it in the kitchen. And I overheard it and I was like, that didn't happen to you, did it? But I still remember like your first night as knight. And I was like, oh my God, my brother's a knight now, you know? And then it was just so cool because it did seem like there was more of a brotherhood there in the sense with some of the knights, like everybody really understood each other and it didn't really matter what you said to each other or how you act to each other. Everybody understood it. But I think that also goes for a lot of like those, some of those entertainment places, like back then you're a family. Oh God, Pleasure Island.
I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into it, John.
Mannequins. Come on now.
Come on. The Rock and Roll Beach Club, John, you know, you were busting it out to 8 tracks, you fucker. Ha! So anyways, didn't you become a knight? Your balls have been painted. Now you're trained and you get kind of, yeah, Michelle, that's my youngest sister. So 8 tracks, you know, you get going and you rock and rolling out there. But besides that, we'd meet at the bars and they'd say, catch you. Well, after they caught you and you were a knight for a while, dude, let me tell you how your life went. This is what your life was. You would go to work at 3:00. You would train and fight until the game. And if we were doing 2 shows, we would just be later. You would fight. We knew every routine. Sometimes you could fall asleep on the horse because you were so fucking tired. The horse would run the whole show. But you looked really stupid. But, you know, they had glass up, and I remember all the guys would, like, fart really loud and then wave their hand. The crowd would cheer for them. So all the shit we were doing on the inside, dude, was just, I mean, you know, pissing off Tim, our boss and shit, and you know, not putting his saddle on real tight and stuff like that. But, you know, there was a lot of shit that could really go down, and, I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was ran a little shitty at times, but you know, the neon armadillo. They wore the shit. He's like, I wore my shit kickers. So our life, we'd go to work, and after work, it would usually be like tourists. So there'd be hundreds of tourists. They'd be from everywhere in there. Yeah. And we just were like a thing. Like that was like they've never seen that before. It was really a like a big Vegas show kind of thing. And
it was.
You know, it takes years to get there, and a lot of people go, "Oh yeah, man, fucking night." It might be like that now, but back then, man, it was a tight group of dudes, different. And you had to earn your way in there because, like I said, we're swinging real weapons at each other. And you could really fuck up and you could accidentally kill somebody. I mean, hands down, we were throwing javelins at each other with shields. I mean, you have to understand, or jousting. I remember Tim,
Somebody did get
one of the
stunned.
squires gave Tim the wrong joust. He gave him the game joust, and it had the metal spear on the end of it for sticking stuff when you're riding under for gaming. And it went right through his fucking leg and in through his boot and everything. And he was pissed. But that's the type of shit. So idiots like that never made it anywhere, but you earned your way in. So after you're done with the show, you're tired, you take a shower, dude. You know, we had real long hair, and we're just like, it was all rock and roll shit. I mean, come on, man. And then you go to Pleasure Island all night, dude. All night long. You wouldn't leave till 3. Then you would end up at like fucking Perkins or Denny's, dude. And we had this big group. My best friend, he used to play the horn and do the lights there. And I mean, and then it was like this big rerun of just idiocracy, man. Like it was like living like a rock star, never knowing who you're going to wake up next to. And there were just like Brazilian girls are crazy. And it was just, I'm surprised none of us like really like died of AIDS or anything back then. We were crazy. Like it was like, I can't even tell you, like nobody's had a job like that anymore that can live the way we lived. I mean, it was unbelievable. A group of us would go out to the club, man. They wouldn't even charge us. They're like, oh, come on in, you guys are all fucking, you know, and because, you know, we just put on a great show. We had a lot of fun with people, and that I miss that, going and seeing that stuff and really having that those kind of shows were awesome. I mean, I know there's still one there, but I would like to do that too. Yeah, we would definitely go. We used to call that the Greasy Spoon, John. The Greasy
my God,
Spoon.
the Waffle House.
Yep.
Yeah.
He said, I think Thursday night was employee night. Sunday nights at the House of Blues out there, when it was Pleasure Island still too, was hospitality night. So you go out Sunday night and get in for free, whatever, if you were in hospitality, which was acting or wait staff or whatever. But that came later. But for the most part, we couldn't even go to the grocery anywhere in that area, Kissimmee. If somebody saw that day, it was all day, especially the little kids. They got a real big kick out of it too. We had a lot of fun with them, but we go out our night and they're like, oh yeah. And we would bring people in and they just buy a ticket. Oh no, it was a lot of fun. And then, you know, a couple of us ended up not really liking Fernando. He was a fucking dipshit. So if he ever sees this, Fernando, you were a fucking idiot. And he talked like Kermit the fucking Frog. He was such a dipshit. But anyways, a few of us left. I ended up going to Arabian Nights and then doing horse work out there. And it was just as fun. It was just as fun, you know, doing all the Indian riding and the black light riding. So it was a lot of fun. So
I still think though that you had a different kind of people and a different group of people at medieval times versus Arabian Nights. I think it was just a different kind of,
Arabian Nights,
everybody
kind of was uppity and they were like, oh, I train horses. I bought a book at Kmart and I'm a trainer. And I'm like, yeah, go fuck off. I don't care. I'm just gonna ride it. Just put the saddle on it and I'm gonna ride it and I'm gonna get shot off. And then I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna eat. I don't care. Do whatever you want. So, you know, they were always trying to tell you stuff, but I really didn't care. It was I just want to ride the horse because it becomes a job, you know?
Yeah.
Anything becomes a job.
Yep.
And so,
so
we started dabbling a bunch of different things. And that's how I ended up. So I never really, my whole life for those of you that have or had and understand it, I've never really had a real job. All my jobs have been pretty exciting. And I struggled sometimes? Absolutely. But I have also done some really amazing things in my life that a lot of people haven't. And I'm fortunate. I just put myself in the right places and I suffered a little early so that I could do more fun things, you know?
Well, you did forget to mention, because we have it on
Heels
film.
down, toes up. Kimberly said, heels down, toes up.
Because we have it on film when you guys were putting paint in each other's helmets and masks and stuff at medieval times.
That's right. So
Ralph's hair was super long and like coal black and super ringlet curly, and it's on film because he's about to go do.
Hey man, they filled up his helmet because
so full. Not even
Ralph and I tied a dead rat. So this guy, Todd, I won't say his last name, but Todd, he was awesome. He was the youngest of us all.
Todd,
but he was awesome. I love Todd. That guy could ride. He was awesome. I loved working with him. He's a great guy, friendly guy, just one of the nicest dudes. He was like a Jimmy Riffle. He just knew how to do the show, and he loved everybody. That was Todd, but he didn't like rats. So we put rats in his locker one day, right? And so he was freaked out about that, and he swore we never do it again. Never put live rats in my thing. So we got a fake rat, and we duct taped the tail to the inside of the locker. So when he opened it up, it smacked him in the face, and that was it, dude. He like freaked out. So he filled this white paint And Ralph was this Italian, like she said, with really long black, shiny black curly
Super
hair.
long hair.
And he hands him, he gets ready to do his fight, and he picks his helmet up and he puts it down and just blobs out. He takes it back off, and he's just laughing and he's wiping his eyes. He's like, "You fuckers!" And that's the type of shit we would get yelled at and threatened. You do that again, we write you up, kind of thing. It was ran by a bunch of Spanish mafia guys out of Spain, to say the least. I mean, when they showed up, it was like, okay, they bring in the helicopter, the guy lands in the back, they come walk up, they drop off some cocaine, you do the show, they leave, that kind of thing. And so they would yell, "You don't do that, you don't do that." They would get mad, But they knew that if they couldn't get rid of us, because we were the best at what we did. And what are you going to do? Put this little dweeb over here, and what kind of show do you think you're going to have? You know what I mean? It takes time to practice to get to do what we did. So we kind of knew our value. And I don't know about y'all back then, but let me tell you something, man. We were making $25 an hour doing that in 1994, 95. Think about that.
95, yeah.
Think about that.
But it was fun.
That's how much money, man, we were making doing that work. So back then, in the 90s like that was when people were still making $4.25 an hour to stock shit. So think about that, man. So we were very fortunate. So we were very lucky at that time to be where we were. And, I feel a lot like Jimmy Buffett. I've made a lot of money in my life. I pissed a lot of it away, and I just said, fuck it. I'm not going to, I'm not going to take it with me anywhere. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, I don't know. It was a lot of fun.
I like the prank aspect. I think nowadays we get so caught up in everything that we forget about having fun. And like, even when I worked at Universal, the pranks we would play on each other that was the best part of how can we get each other back for something, because we all were family. So I think when you're really like true family at work or what you do. So I always loved it as a kid, watching you guys and like seeing the Knights as like additional brothers. It was just so fun.
I really had a good time, and jump that back up again. You're right, John. It's not about the money. It's the coolest work he's ever done is for free. And it was pretty cheap for the risk. Yep. Kimberly said, "You can't take your monies to the grave." She's right about that.
Yes, she is.
And I like to have a little bit put aside, because I like that if I find something I really want. I'm not an impulse buyer. A lot of people may think that about me, but I really like to thoroughly look through what I want. If I really want it, or I feel like I'm called to it, or it comes to me, then I want it. I'll put something down. And even Katie will be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Well, if I really want it and I was still thinking about it when I walk by, I'll pick it up,
Yep.
Or the ditch. Haha. Yeah, that's right. Or the ditch. You got it, John. So with that being said, I don't know. I've had a lot of fun with things. I mean, I remember a lot of fun too. Like, so John, for instance, John Burkle, who's on here, is the chair for me. That's nice, Kimberly. These guys are having a little, or the ditch. Haha. It's the chair for me. It's all death jokes. It's funny. So John Burkle is a funny guy. All right. I got to tell you, he makes me laugh. He was clever. We had a lot of fun. And I really don't come across a lot of people that are that witty. I'm pretty fast at stuff, and people look at you and then like, "Oh, fuck, I got that." John was on point, man. So we could throw shit around back then, and we had a really good time. And he would say shit to people, man, that just, and they just loved it. And it was just the greatest thing he'd ever did. I mean, he would insult them. It's amazing. He's very talented. So even that, and I'm still there, John. I'm still there. I'm back over the gardens with Flavia and I. It's taken a totally different direction. It's still the same. It's like, I tell everybody, it's like that Bon Jovi song. It's always the same thing, but the faces change, whatever. But it's got a lot of different direction now. There's a lot of different things and different attributes, like everything. So it's really been a struggle, but a fun struggle, if that makes any sense. And so, once you understand what's needed and what the people need that own that place, what they need and want, and you got that ironed out, it really fixes. You really get to understand. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So Chris is really hands-on now, more than he was, and he's got all the and we'll talk about it. He's got all like the history now he's putting together, and there's like, we've got these new exhibits going in, and Flavia and I are putting together a collection plan for animals, and
that's cool.
And thank you. And Kimberly was out there too. She just recently went out. She said it's 100% turnaround, in my opinion. Actually enjoyable, educational, and taken seriously. Yep, because there's a lot to do. I mean, it was fun back then. I had a good time but you have to remember that one of the best parts to me about the gardens, every job has its trials and tribulations, and you just want to say fuck it. But that's every job. But one of the best parts about the gardens is it's still, John, as you know, it's still hands-on. Dominic gets played with. I play with him as much as I can. Flavio plays with him, and he gets attention. We're not that big, multi-million dollar AZA Nazi type zoo. Now, I like zoos, don't get me wrong, but I don't agree with everything AZA does. I just don't. But So we still have that hands-on experience. And there's been a lot of people where, let's see, John said, yep, wish I was able to focus on it. Yep. Where people come in from other zoos and they get to walk with the flamingos, John. Remember that? Might be, to us, it was cool. We did it so much. We're like, oh, flamingos. When people did and they're all around them, you just see the joy. And a lot of places don't do that, and we put the animals in their hands that we're allowed to now without the restrictions of Florida. But, and that's really where we're at with that zoo. And I think that that's exciting. So those types of things have been really fun. So really for me, it's I love it. I like being able to do what I like to do. But yeah, sometimes animals for me, I get like, oh, it's not a hobby anymore. It's a pain in the ass. But John said he likes a small zoo where I can do what I want. Yep, exactly. And you could really work with the things that you want to work with. John worked with a lot of animals and you want that freedom. There's just things. John had some neat stuff, man. Like we got this other place. You see the hyenas and all that. That one that kept showing up the shows. Yeah, dude, Kazi, he still does that. Still to this day, he's still doing that. Kazi, number 38, still him, still a ding-a-ling. And every time breeding season comes around, he goes wherever the fuck he feels like going. Still does it. So, there's a lot of memories there. We had a lot of good times. Sometimes in the morning I'm walking by and yeah, you do. You need a hyena. Joseph said he needs a hyena. So you take care of that, John. You hook him up. I'll stop by, be early morning, Flavio, and he'll be like, remember that time John went in there and got Dominic to chase him around that rock super fast? And I go, yeah, or John had to get them damn monkeys because he knows I don't like macaques. John was a monkey guy. Just all the things that you come back, you just start to remember. Matt came to visit. It was just fun. It was a neat time. So every door closes, man. Every door closes. So I'm just enjoying the one I'm in now, I guess. And it's been a roller coaster. I mean, I can't lie. Sometimes it's pissed me off, and sometimes it's really, really cool. I mean, what are you going to say, right? It sure beats getting up doing the same thing every day.
Yeah. I'll have to say, though, going to the gardens was a really cool experience. And I'll have to agree with you because most of the zoos I've been to, honest to God, I can't say I've ever been able to have an up close and personal encounter like that with the flamingos, because that was a really cool experience to sit there, especially
and you've
to
never
watch,
done
like,
that before?
Good. I've been to a zoo where like they give you the feed and they can come up but you're only so many feet to them and they come up, and that was like out in California, and they come up and you can they'll feed off your hand, but you're far away. There's still a pen between you and the bird. But in this, to just walk right up with them and they're just roaming freely. And then they're like, oh, there's food. Hey, they have food over here. And then you flocked by 20 of them. But for me, I think it was more exciting to watch Finn. Finn was
and watch it. Finn, for those of you, is my nephew, and he probably had a really good time because he's really into stuff like music and craziness. He's wide open. He's just that kid. John said that we all had skills that worked well together. We did. And John was really good with those monkeys and shit. I remember I never cared too much for Bubba, John. I'm not gonna lie. Bubba was a scary motherfucker. But anyways, he was a big macaque and he was scary. He'd always come up, he'd bang his belly. He'd bark his teeth at you. John's like, oh, you just got to do this. So, at the end of the day, we had a different type of thing there. Nowadays, it's I find this everywhere I go. And for those of you that have been there or act this way, well, I'm sorry if this is going to emotionally bother you. They'll come up and they are greenhorns, and they've worked for themselves on Google in their bedroom late at night researching their favorite iguana. Or they've worked for PetSmart where they've read everything that's in the little PetSmart handbook on reptiles, right? And they want to come and they tell you this. And you want to be nice at first. You want to be very nice and be like, okay, listen. It's a little different here, blah, blah, blah. And people don't understand what it takes to work with an animal. It takes a lot. It takes a team, okay? Because right now, I have Kurt and I went, and we have our cassowaries. So we're raising 2 young female cassowaries, and female cassowaries can be dangerous. And so we're going to farm them. So people are only going to come out and see them when we decide that people can hang out. It's only family because we don't put them on display. They're just a farm animal for us. We're not going to eat them. When I say farm them, oh my God, you need to kill them all. Nope. Feathers, eggs, and possible breeding. Okay. So at the end of the day, I have a group of people that have and do this with these specific animals, and not many people have them. John can tell you, not many people have hyenas. Okay. John's got hyenas. None of you have that. So if I was to end up with a hyena, I'll be like, John, I need this. I'm not going to be like, I know what I'm doing because I raised a parakeet. I bought a parakeet and I gave it its budgie bills and I gave it a thing and I'm fucking PetSmart strong. I don't do that. And so that's what I try to tell these kids. Listen, I know you think I'm a piece of shit or an asshole or a dickhead or Flavio's a fucking idiot or whatever, but he knows what he's doing. Okay. So if you get stuck in a situation with these animals, you want someone like me or Flavio or John or somebody that's worked these types of animals so you get out alive. And so I'm going to put that up right now. So let me just cut off and say that. One of my favorite memories at Sarasota Jungles was having a lady touch a boa during a show who was 98 and had been afraid her whole life. Okay.
Wow.
That's so true, bro. And that stuff comes out and people love it. That reminds me. So we have young white alligators there we're doing
Awesome.
pictures with, and this old lady came out and she was just turning 98. It's funny that you say this. And it wasn't supposed to happen like this, but this is, Flavio. So we're walking out the alligators and her friend's like, would you touch that? And the old lady goes, I sure would. And Flavio goes, well, if you're not scared, it's not worth it. I'll tell you what, if you get up and do the jig, I'll let you hold it. That little lady, I took the video, John. That little lady got up and danced the jig. So we went over there and let her hold the alligator for her 98th birthday. And let me tell you something, man. It was cute. It was awesome. It reminded me of being with the Golden Girls. And the only thing that I really liked about it the most was most people, there it is, Flavio. He's on here now, the jig. The most people, anytime they see an alligator or a reptile, they think it's shit. So when an old lady like that thinks it's really cool and wants to learn, it just shows you that not all older people are a bunch of fucking dipshits like it seems, for sure. Whatever, Pip. Yep. He's talking about Pip. That's all that. John Burkle, big cats, hoofstock, and primates. Yep, he can have them. I like hoofstock, but the other two are all you, buddy. And so it was just one of those things. And so, like, we try to tell people all the time, like, everybody's got a different style. It's like tattooing. You learn the basics. I mean, there's a lot of amazing attributes that Flavio has shown me that I didn't do before that really work with some of the things I'm working with because he had more time to focus on that species. And so a lot of people need to know when to take a back step. And I know how to do that. A lot of people don't, Flavio and I talk a lot about training, what we were doing. I need X, Y, and here's what we're going to execute. And some things are different. And a lot of people really want to do stuff and they just over jumping. And then what happens is you end up ruining the animal and then people's opinion of you. So I hear some of the nicest people in the zoos, and I've been to a couple of them, and, even Colette's had a few, and she's been in the business a very long time. And what she calls and tells me, I never second guess because she's just been there and done that. And one thing I like about her, she doesn't. She's like, well, I'm not sure about that. You have to ask Flavio. He did that back. And, it was like, I think it was 1995 or 6. He moved this. So, hey, Flavio done it. Yeah, we have that intermediate. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
And I hear Flavio every day saying, guys, go reach out, learn a bunch of different things. Call this place, call this place, call this place. And I really think that's healthy. I do. Because they can either come back and argue and say, well, they said you should do this. And then I can say, well, this is what happened when we tried it, or this is what happened when I tried it, or this person tried it. So be careful. Maybe it works for them, or maybe you have a specific animal. Every animal is different. It doesn't matter what the species is. Everyone has a personality.
I would think though in animal handling, because I did it too with you. I mean, we both did it. I did it when I was smaller with like the furries.
I've seen you work crocodiles with Flavia. I saw you.
No. That
one time get your face fucking snapped off. It was awesome. He said, not that close, Brittany. Oh my God. When that crocodile jumped,
I think about the one horrible flaw that I did. Like the whole
we've all had that horrible flaw, but it was, I can't remember. Flavio will remember. It was either the New Guinea or it was a Siamensis. And I remember he's like, okay,
no,
you want to pull, you want to lean in. And that son of a bitch said, lean in. Woo! Pow! And I remember he pulled back. He's like, not that close.
Yeah, there was no...
That's how fast, guys. That's how fast that shit can happen, man. Anyone on here knows them knows that can happen.
It would have been like,
what's up, David? Good to see you, buddy.
It would have been done. Yeah, Flavio was so cool about it. He's like, well, not that fast. Like, I mean, it would have been done. But for me, though, like, I don't know. Like, I always feel like I was always anti-gloves when I trained birds. Always. Because I always felt like I had to retrain the bird. Because when I removed the glove, the bird was like, what are you doing now with this hand? Like, they'd re-freak. Yep. And so I remember, like, learning that and then telling people, and they're like, no, I'm using the glove. And I'm like, right, but then you're showing the animal that you still have that fear of it. So the bird's going to know you still fear me. So it's going to know if I do certain moves or certain things, you're going to jump and I'm going to get my way. And so like, I just feel like if you have somebody that has that expertise, like you and Flavio, if I came to work at the zoo and if I read the knowledge, fine, that's fine. But reading it doesn't make you an expert in the field. Hands-on experience is what truly makes you the expert in the field. You just have the knowledge to back that experience. So I would come to you and Flavio. This is me personally. It's my opinion. Doesn't matter. But I would come to both of you and say, listen, I was reading all this stuff, but I know that you two have had the hands-on experience for X amount of years. I would really love for you to show me the correct way from based on what I've read and tell me if what I've read is right or wrong so that I can learn how to do this better so that one day I can teach somebody else in the right practice. Does that make sense? Like, I don't know if that makes sense to a lot of people,
No,
but I just
I
feel
totally
like
understand. A lot of people like Joseph saying here, he said that birds terrify me. You know, and that's cool. You know, but I'm glad listen to me. I like the fact that he said that because a lot of people won't come out and say that kind of stuff. John Briggle says he doesn't use gloves even with raptors. I do. My Eurasian eagle owl gave me a squeeze one time when he was a little nervous of a dog. And I'll tell you what, he'll be sitting on that fucking raptor glove from now on, bud. From now on. Now, if it's just me and him in the enclosure or whatever, I can put my hand up to him and he's not a piece of shit. He will step up nicely. But he got scared one time and went to bait and he squeezed so freaking hard, dude. I saw Jesus. So he will be on that glove. But I'm glad that Joseph admitted that because now you know, hey, this guy has a fear of this particular thing, which is I'm not a big fan of some of them macaws either. I won't tell you that I'm not scared of them because they're nutsocks sometimes. They're crazy. So what we work on is we work on our fear and how we get through that. But also remember, not all animals you're going to mesh with. I mean, you'll have your specialties. Like you're going to be like, I really like crocodiles. Or I really like this. I really like that. I'm fortunate because I have an interest in certain things and I can hyper focus on it so I can really get the attention I want. But it's not all, I don't go all out. But basically, it's always the same thing. You know, if you talk to anybody that tells you that, especially Flavio, who will tell you too, there's always a motive. Always. Yeah. There's always a motive. So you can either train or habituate. You know, nothing's ever, I don't like the word, I hate the word tame. Well, I'm going to tame it down. You know, it's habituate or understanding. Like, you know, the animal and you have an understanding. Now you're asking each other for things instead of forcing one or the other to do something. You know, with a lot of dominant crocodiles, you guys can come to an understanding. You know what I mean? So if you have an understanding of the crocodile and he understands you, it works. You know what I mean? So don't push him, and he's not going to push you. Francis, I think, is still around, Bubba. Michelle says, so has anyone had pig advice? Well, I haven't worked a lot with pigs, but I just know they get real big, fat, and horny, and then they go after everything they can. So if anybody has pig advice on here, that's it. So David said, how many hours do you need to house beaded lizards? Okay, so what that is it's a Helodermidae. So you need 1,000 hours with that particular species. So you can work with the beaded or the Gila monsters to get that. The beaded lizard or the Gila monster, because those are heloderms. Those are the only heloderms. So that's what you have to do. It's 1,000 hours. But anyways, you can do that stuff. I have heloderms. I love them. Justin has heloderms. That's probably my favorite venomous animal. I know there's some really cool cobras out there and stuff, but I got ballsy friends and I don't do that. Don't talk to them. Don't talk back to them when they pull you over. My gosh, dude. John's off on something here. I'm just trying to figure it out. Don't talk back to them when they pull you over. That's pig advice from John Brickle. See what I mean? Pig advice from John Brickle. Don't talk back when they pull you over. That's probably that pig advice. That's probably the best thing I've seen tonight. That's awesome. That was a good one. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. And then, you know, like we get into a plethora of different things, man. So I think most animal people have just a better understanding of life. Real animal people. Not one that has to touch everything and put the picture of themselves up holding it. Cobras and Gilas are the only venomous I keep. Yeah, that's right. No, Joseph has cobras, man. He's got big balls.
See, now for me, that's something nope.
Cobras are cool as shit.
You. I love cobras. I think they're awesome, but getting next to them or getting next to them, okay. But to like handle them or do work with them, like that takes somebody that's got.
When I was a kid, before I knew it was legal,
this one. I can't do that.
She said wild caught in Arizona. What she's talking about is that there's for me now, if it's about currently Phoenix Herp Society, if an animal is removed from the wild, such as a Gila monster, very rarely a beaded lizard in that area, but a Gila monster, they get overwhelmed and they have to place them. So they placed a couple beautiful Gila monsters with me, and they're awesome. They're really awesome animals. One was caught in a glue trap, and one was some nuisance under an AC or something. But they just, it was taken or somebody kept it as a pet, and you can't re-release it. So, anyways, but when I was a kid, I lived in Arizona a few years, and we would have our goats and stuff in our horse pens, and I would go out there and grab the Gila monsters, dude, and put them in cages and stuff so my dad could relocate them. I was 10 years old. I think, I was 10 years old when I caught the first one. And they were cool, man, because back then when I was a kid, they're like, oh, you got to be careful. They'll bite through a car tire and pop it. Come on. Does anybody knows that now that they never bite through a car tire? Maybe a fucking child's balloon. Never a car tire. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, they get really ridiculous.
A Gila monster?
Yep. And I caught some big ones now. There's some big Gilas now. They don't.
That's awesome.
Kimberly Ann says Egyptians and kings are cool. That's all. Egyptians and kings. I like king cobras. I think you have to really have a knack to work them. Monocle cobras are pretty fun. They because you just never know what you're going to get. You know, it's like well, is a firecracker a dud or is it going to explode? When you open the door, you know when you open the door. Monocles are just like that, man. I mean, they're lightning fast and they're just I think if you have to learn cobras, learning on a monocle would probably be pretty fun. Can you hold on for a second, bud? My dog's over here talking shit.
I remember when we had the reticulated many years ago, and I remember he was out and I came to open the door and I just remember his head like totally came up and looked over the one pen at me and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to close the door. Years ago with the retic that we had at the time. And I remember he was out and I forgot that he was out and I just opened the door and his little head slithered up and looked at me and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to close the door. Hey, Troy, I forgot. You need to come get him. I forgot we let him out. Can you go put him back in?
Yeah, I remember we had a retic get out in the store years ago that I used to have and he ate the pigs.
It was awful.
Yeah,
but
he ate everything in there. So
they
just said, Joe, Kim
he was nice though. He was nice though. He was a good snake though. I mean, I will say most of the snakes that we did have back then, you could do anything with. I mean, the snakes were like even the 22-foot boa you had was, I mean, or not boa, it was a python.
So Joseph said he's got Egyptian, a king, a monocle, Indians, and black packs. Wow, dude. Those are nice snakes, man. That's pretty cool. That's awesome. Pretty cool. Yeah. And I respect him.
I like snakes.
To me, it's too much of a liability. And
yeah.
I have Cody, he's real good with animals, but he doesn't have that retract fast thing. He takes bites. And so I just think a venomous animal like that for him would be not good because he just doesn't have the reaction because he's like, oh, the parrot's going to bite me. Fuck it. I'm picking it up anyways. You know what I mean? And so he has that whole ability to work animals. So venomous, like I said, can't mess with everything. Venomous really aren't his thing. So at the end of the day, that's, that's really where we're at with that.
I'm going to tell a little fun story that I remember because you would do this to me on occasion. I got a call one morning. Everybody I think will appreciate this and they'll be like, oh my God, that's so Troy. But I got a call one morning and I had a lady show up. She's like, hey, I have my bird in the car. And Troy said that you would clip his wings for me today. And I was like, oh yeah, that's fine. And I used to clip all the birds' wings. I didn't care. I loved doing it. Actually, I didn't care. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. She brings in a hyacinth macaw. I literally grabbed my phone and I text Troy. And I'm like, you told this freaking woman that I'm going to cut this hyacinth macaw's wings.
Well, I didn't know it was hyacinth. She just said I need my bird's nails cut.
I know. And you were like, oh, that's all right. I'm sure he's fine. Thank God I got lucky that day that bird was so calm. It actually just stood there for me and lifted its wing. But I like freaking freaked out for a second. Yeah. I'm thinking, this big bird. And I was laughing afterwards and you were laughing too. But I was like, Troy, it wasn't a parakeet. It was a freaking eyes. And it was this cute little old woman that came in and I just assumed it was going to be a parakeet or a cockatiel or something. Because that was the genre that was like the constant that we got. And she comes in with this beautiful dog crate and lifts it back, and it's this little, and he just looks up at me like, hi, like this cute little cage they have with this little toy.
No, they're awesome birds. They really are super cool birds.
I was like, Troy, I just clipped my first hyacinth wing. It was hyacinth macaw.
Yeah, parakeets were the worst.
Experience. Oh, parakeets.
Parakeets would chew the shit out of you.
I will handle any bird. I will handle any freaking bird. I don't care. I have been bit by every single bird. I had a prairie dog bite through the tip of my nose, and I still was able to give that prairie dog a home. I remember that. Put an earring all the way through it. And I was like, he's just giving me kisses. Because I was like, oh my God, Dusty just bit through my nose.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't care. I didn't care because it was all about making sure the animal had a good place and a good home and a good life. And it was so fun. And I mean, I'll be honest, like I did not care about any animal biting me. But when a parakeet bit, they get in that fine little crevice between your thumb and
right in your fingernail,
right there, and they go, and they don't let go. They hold on and they wiggle, and oh my God, I was like, God, these little birds, I can't take it. You're so mean. Why are you so mean? I would take a bite by any bird. Even my macaws bit me many times, and I would get bit by them any day. But a parakeet or a cockatiel, forget it. Those bites are the freaking worst.
You know, we have a big female harlequin macaw, but she's not down the spider monkey cage. I think we still have her, but I think she was moved. I'll have to look and see. I don't think we still have that spider monkey cage anymore. But I will definitely. The only thing I think, yes, we do. The only ones I think that are in there now are, no, we don't even. I think there's lemurs in there. I know exactly what you're talking about. They're moved. They're moved up to the front, John.
Your bird Frosty, I love, by the way.
Yep, Frosty is now Frosty Jr.
Frosty Jr. Okay.
The original Frosty is still alive. He's just right now he's retired. So he's staying with people that, you know, because he's older and he's retired. So just to give him a stress-free life. Because I think he's like almost 90 years old.
Oh, wow. Well, Frosty Jr. is awesome. I love that bird. He was so cool. He's like, hi,
Frosty Jr. is a lot of fun. He's really a lot of fun. He goes, I'm a pretty guy. Worst parrot bite ever.
Oh,
I got was an Amazon through the lip. Yep, I'm sure it did. My dad got bit by a double yellow Amazon in his face, right on the side of his face like this. It flew at him and attacked him. You got to remember that some of those birds, they don't like certain people, man, and they will fuck you up.
Some birds have issues with men versus some have issues with women. I mean, you just never know. It just depends on the bird, what they've been through to you a lot of times.
Frosty still is amazing, John. Still is. So when you come down, we'll go see her. He's doing good. He's a good little dude. He's a good little dude. He just needs to be. He was just old, man. He was just old. Yeah. He needed a break, and so now he gets to live the dream, hang out, get treats, and watch TV.
Animals in a whole are they're amazing, and I don't think that they're appreciated as much as they should be nowadays. And I think that that's really kind of crappy because, I mean, honestly, I like animals a lot of times more than I like some people that I talk to, just because animals they understand. I mean, you look at a dog, and as horrible as it is, like some of the dogs out there that get beaten and abused, they still come running to you with a wagging tail because they're just hoping that today is going to be better, and they just want that love and attention. But it's because animals just, you know, they never forget, but they do forgive, but they understand. If you understand them, then you can have an amazing relationship for the rest of your life with them. And there's just something magical about animals and what they can do for people. I remember when we had the llamas, we took them into nursing homes when we were younger, and to watch the elderly with the llamas, and the llamas understood when some of them couldn't move. The llamas like literally knew, and they would put their heads all the way down so that, you know, the elderly could pet them. And I just remember how it made those people feel, and to have those moments in your life and you can appreciate and look back. You're like, you know what, this is what you do. This is why we do what we do, because it truly is amazing.
John. Folsom. Yes, it is. Yeah. That bird was in Folsom prison. So Elvis Presley saw him. Johnny Cash saw him.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Joe's trying to come up and get me because he knows it's time to do. He knows it's time to eat or do his peas and poops because it's about that time. See how he looks.
Look at his face. He's like, I have to go.
Can I ask you a question? Are we doing peas and poops? What do you mean? Are we doing peas and poops? Where's the rat?
Joey.
Where's that rat?
Look at his face.
Are you gonna kill a rat?
Joey.
You great rat hunter. Yeah. Joe's awesome. He's such a good boy. He still acts like an idiot.
He has like little bat ears. Little Joey.
Yeah. He goes out and he kills rats. Where's the squirrels?
Joey is the best for people that
where's
don't
the
know.
squirrels?
Joey loves to do laps in the pool, and it is the cutest thing. Like during the summer, Troy would be like, "Are you gonna go do your laps in the pool?" And Joey's like, "Yes." Ruff, ruff, ruff. And he'll take off, and he's like, and he gets across, and he's like, and he comes back, and then he's all excited, and he's all wet, and he runs around the pool again. Then he gets in, and he does.
Till he bloodies up his feet.
Yeah, from having too much fun.
Let me borrow Joe. I have pieces breaking into my home. Yep. Flew in while skinning clover folds. You're well, buddy. Well, we're down to the final minute. We are at 59 minutes and 17 seconds and rocking. Joe's getting excited here. Just relax. We're gonna get squirrels.
Peas and poops.
We're gonna get squirrels in a minute. How about them squirrels? They're good. All right. I know. I understand. So I appreciate everybody coming in today. Brittany, it was great to have you here again. It's nice to see everybody kind of coming in and joining us on the Motley Croc Show. I really appreciate it. You know, sometimes we talk about demons, sometimes we talk about monsters, and sometimes we talk about reptiles, animals, ghosts, ghost busting, supernatural. You never know what you're going to find here. So we really enjoy that. And I'm going to try to link up some more stuff with people, and we're going to have some really good conversations coming up, maybe do a little bit more investigations and really have some good times. I'd like to touch on some stuff with Joseph some more too. So we're definitely want to get into that. So once again, I appreciate everybody coming out and doing this with us. Brittany, thank you for staying up late with me. I know the kiddos want to go to bed.
Yeah, they're
So
good. Yeah.
keep rocking out with your Croc out. Enjoy your week. And if you're in Florida, the weather's decent. So enjoy, guys. We appreciate you. And we will definitely see you next Sunday or maybe even before. Until then.